Right on. All right. Well, first of all, welcome. If you are watching this on YouTube or Facebook or wherever you're watching it, thank you for the chance of being part of something special. This is an educational opportunity that I have worked probably for the past year on, maybe a little longer. Um, and it really ties together everything I know about how to work on music and work on all aspects of your musical self, from skill building to constructing your artistry to getting things done in terms of records and recordings and writing. All that gets covered. It's a whole bunch of stuff, and it has some tremendous value, and I'm here to talk to you about it right now. Let's dive in. Why would I make a program like this, right? So, first of all, I saw a lot of issues within music education. I saw that lessons were focusing on a tiny, tiny picture of what music can be and what music is. I didn't really dig that. A lot of students lose track of the big picture of their growth. Um, it's kind of sad to watch. It makes students like disengage from their own learning, and maybe they're like interested or fascinated on one particular image of something that they want to do or become, rather than the big picture of what a musical life really looks like. And it's my belief that students should kind of get this bigger picture and should focus more on that. Teachers who really don't have time for their students, they give them meaningless work. I have been that student. I hopefully have never been that teacher, but I really try not to be. And one of the ways that I do that is by asking students for their input on their own learning, right? So there's this aspect of project-based learning. It's a big component of this class where student input is necessary, right? Teachers, frankly, are better off milking you for your time and money than giving you all of their knowledge at once. Why is this true? Because it's better to just teach you where you're at and keep you there and have you grow slow because you'll stay their student, right? I don't want that. You can kind of think of this honestly like Hinge for like bluegrass learning, I guess, right? You learn these skills, you learn these processes, and then you're out there on your own and you're confident that you can do it all, right? So the goal is you take the class for a year, you feel ready, you feel equipped, right? Um, and it's also based on this idea of playing the whole game. I got this from David Perkins, who's a professor emeritus from the Harvard School of Education. And he kind of in this YouTube video on playing the whole game, right? If you were to watch this, basically talks about, playing the whole game and why it's important, right? Um, and you can read on this if you want to, but basically look up David Perkins playing the whole game. Um, Baseball is the example they give. But imagine I teach you just how to steal or just how to do batting practice. Well, I am not going to get a very engaged person. I'm going to get only the people who are interested in those two things. And that won't last either of us very long because you'll learn those two skills and then you'll say, I need more out of my game of baseball than this, right? So, better yet, to design something where you're teaching all of the game or all the pieces of the game that they're available to you, and that the work that you do has you practice iterations cyclically of this entire game, the game of music. Here's a list of questions that I wanted my program to cover, right? There were a lot. I'm just going to kind of lay them all out here. Just reading a few of these, right? How can I interact with other musicians? The kind of responsibilities you might have, what your community might look like, how to conceive of your artistry. There's a lot here. All of these questions are addressed in this class. So if any of this looks like something that you want or need out of your musical learning this year, this class is probably worthwhile for you. What do I believe every student needs? It's these three things, and it's these three things that I based the course on, right? Number one is healthy progress on technique. If you are not engaged with your technique in a way that is, basically you know where you're at, but you know where you want to get to, and so you're working towards that. If you don't really have that sort of pull in this forward direction on your technique, you're not going to learn anything that's new, that's challenging. You're not going to hear anything that you haven't heard before, realistically, right? Off your instrument and out of your musical self. So we got to work on the technique, right? So having some kind of process to divide up the different ways that you might work on technique and where those skills belong, right? That's all addressed here. Number two, a healthy musical social life, right? What might that look like for some people? It might be jamming, it might be a band, it might be taking a class. This blueprint class is not the only program out there. There is a lot. If you are looking into this opportunity, you're probably looking into other opportunities. So I thought it would be wise to create a unit where we discuss education in music and also discuss the other activities that you can do in the musical world and how to sort of pick and choose what you want to do and how do you engage with your music culture around you. And then finally, understanding your place in the music. I think this is vital for everybody. Um, I use this quote here from Bruce Molsky, borrowing this from him. I'm sure he got it also probably from somebody else, to be honest, and I think he would be the first to tell you that. But everybody, every musician is a link in a chain, right? The chain is everything that came before you, and you are the next link in that chain, right? Connecting yourself to whatever chain it is you think you're connected to is part of your job as a musician. It's something that most musicians go through. Some people long before they conceive of their artistry, and sometimes people do it out of necessity because they need to make a buck and create a band that needs a goal and has to connect to people somehow. So this is a deep thing to me. An ancestor of mine who was a poet, wrote the national anthem of the Isle of Majorca, and he also, in a speech, talked about how basically all art should be derived from the people and delivered for the people, and that's what makes art good, is basically what he was saying. And that was like 8 9 generations before me. So I'd like to think that this vibe is in my blood. Hey, we're all links in a chain. Let's use what the chain has there to understand what our place is in it. um this is just an important note. Technique first, then character is the way that the class is structured. It's also sort of my belief that you can't really work on the character aspect of your musicianship or who you want to be if you don't have the necessary technical proficiency on your instrument, or in terms of your ability to hear harmony or write tunes down, or to transcribe, or to think about arrangements or other instruments, right? There's a lot of other things that you can view as a technique or a skill, right? Um, and so I view it all as playing the whole game. The technique should be situated in that game. But the point is, you're not trying to be, Bill Monroe playing bluegrass. Bill Monroe will never be, there will never be another Bill Monroe, right? There was only one. So there's only one of you. So you are your own character, quote unquote. You are your own artist. That's not something you need to manufacture. It's something you need to codify in a way that serves your art, but it's not something you need to create out of thin air. Focus on the technical aspect of what you want to do. What do you want to do first? Um, and you understand what the requisite work is to get your artistry to that level that you're aspiring to, and you practice, 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 right? How do you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice, 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 right on. Et voila, I didn't take French. The 4 phases of this program, right? Phase 1, constructing your bluegrass machines. That is rhythm, harmony, and memory. Those are the 3 areas that I think all musical activities fall into in terms of the 3 places you have to work on your musicianship. The driving question behind this phase is, what should any bluegrass musician theoretically be able to do? So anything that I thought they should be able to do, it's in here. There's also a free PDF that I made called the 3 Bluegrass Machines Trainer, that is available on my Linktree, that is available for free right now. You can also get it delivered to your inbox if you want on the Bluegrass Blueprint email list through MailChimp. It's not spam. It's just me at the computer drafting up some MailChimp stuff. So if you want free stuff and videos on stuff that I will be making on, things that I view as important in bluegrass, there'll be some free stuff coming through that email list, as well as updates about this program and other programs similar to it in the future. Anywho, phase 2, musicking in bluegrass environments, right? Uh, how can I interact with other musicians? This is an important question to answer because not everyone will do this the same way. Some people are scared of interacting with other musicians, but frankly, it's gonna happen and it should happen in order for you to feel engaged and inspired. Number 3, right? Constructing your bluegrass identity. This is not creating something that is fake. This is identifying what it is that you are doing, playing whatever kind of music it is you're playing. For me, it's sort of like bluegrass and jazz stuff. and I view myself as deeply rooted within this particular form of roots music. Other people who might join the class might be interested in some other sort of rooted identity in some other form of music. That is totally cool. The point is, in what way can you interact with your music in a way that is meaningful? If you're not finding meaning in your music, you should find something else to do ASAP. Um, doesn't necessarily have to be something that's not music, but if you want it to be music, make it worthwhile because otherwise you're not going to want to be doing it long term. You're probably kidding yourself. So phase 4 is working on projects, right? What do you want to work towards? What do you want to keep as a result of this project of this class, right? For some people, that's going to be a record. For some people, that'll be a set of tunes. Maybe for some people, that's just some arrangements for their band. It's their songbook that they're gonna use at the farmers market, or maybe to go into the studio with some able musicians soon. You know, so it could really be anything. But the point is that you're putting your time and effort into something that's gonna last, something that you want to keep. Here are the units in phase 1, right? We have rhythm. What are your rhythmic responsibilities, right? Keeping time on a solo, playing rhythm behind people, accompaniment, those kinds of things. Phrasing, not screwing with the groove, studying what is a groove, right? These are responsibilities that we have to maintain. Harmonic responsibilities, what might you have? In my view, anything that's harmonic responsibilities, anything that concerns notes. So what does that mean? It means everything related to singing, everything related to chords and harmony, everything related to soloing and melodic expression and composition, right? So improv, all that stuff, that's all harmony work, right? So that's where you work on building out your ears, recognizing familiar patterns within the music, hearing them and adapting them, and being able to operate freely within them, playing different kinds of backup, playing different kinds of solos that kind of fit the vibe of whatever the music asks you for, right? So that's what the study is here. 3, memory and form, right? What musical events might occur in a bluegrass song form or another song form? And what do I do in each event? This is something that some people have a hard time switching kind of gears when it's time for them to solo or time to make some aural space for somebody else to play backup. I see pro musicians not doing this all the time. If you don't want that to be you, this is the unit that you would learn that in, right? Phase 2, here are the units, units 4, 5, and 6. Let's go back one, right? How can you interact with other musicians? So, place-based learning. You're in a place. You make music there. You live somewhere, presumably, right? What does your music community look like? You got to be able to learn something about it because if there's community and you weren't the first person in it, then it means there's history there. So find out what you can about the history of your learning community, of your music community. What did music look like in your town? Where were the places that used to have bluegrass music? Um, what is the genre that you're playing in currently look like in the city? Right? Those are important questions. This is kind of where you'll start to do a study of your own environment, right? Number 5 is jamming, right? You're gonna get out there and you're gonna do some jamming. You're going to figure out exactly why and how you should be jamming, or if at all. You will probably be doing some jamming. I won't be surprised if you are doing that on a consistent basis by this time. Um, but the point is, how do you make the most of what the opportunity is? Number 6, again, with the educational opportunities, I'm not the only teacher out there. There are choices to make, classes to take. You might want to pursue some other learning opportunities. So, how do you choose what you want to do? We have a unit to discuss that. Phase 3 is constructing a bluegrass identity. Again, this is about meaningful interaction. This is not about creating something fake. This is about conceiving of your artistry in a way that will connect the people that are going to be listening to your music with you, the person, the human behind what you make, right? Um, what makes you human is what makes the art good. Don't be afraid of that. Let it in to the music if you want. Let it in as a way of choosing what songs you want to play, even if it's repertoire choice. There can be stories you want to tell or themes you want to cover, things you've experienced that somebody has probably tried telling in a similar way before. So do the research. You can conceive of your artistry that way. Who do you want to connect yourself to? Um, we are all links in that chain. We are all links in some chain, or maybe a collection of chains. Maybe we are the link that links a bunch of chains together. Conceive of your artistry. That is this unit. Producing works, right? In my mind, production is start to finish, right? So from writing, from thinking about what it is that you want to make, to getting it done, right? Um, how do I successfully produce my own works of music that I and others will enjoy? Um, it's important that you like what you're doing. It's important that your audience, if you're going to be sharing music with people, also enjoys what you're doing. Um, so how do you make the best of both worlds? Should you be? Right? These are the questions that we're going to get into. We are going to find a healthy way to develop this relationship with the audience and your artistry. That is the goal here. It's not to be ignorant of the audience or to be ignorant of what it means to be an artist. It's to meaningfully connect these two things, right? Um, and then we have a unit on careers, right? Say you want to do this full time. You want to make a go for it. Okay, cool. Let's like look at what that looks like in the music world already. Let's look at people who already are working. Let's figure out, you know, can I do this the way that they did it before? Do I need to create my own pathway? What are the steps of my releasing my music, or what are the steps for me just in terms of the progression of my career? If I've never played a gig, how do I get there? How do I get to a short tour? You know, there are steps along this way. There's different approaches. I have worked as a booking manager. I've worked as sort of like musical director kind of situation for people. I've been just an arranger. I've been, just a bass player. So, and watching other people work has really influenced the way that I think about this stuff. So I'm sharing everything that I know about that in this unit 10. Finally, this last phase, you're working on your personal project. What do you want to take home from this year of your work? Do you want to write a record? Do you want to make a songbook? Um, you design this project. This is where all the skill building that you've been doing for the past 10 units, right, comes to fruition in the form of something you keep. So you will likely be thinking about this from the moment that you sign up and set foot in the class. You'll be thinking, I know what I want to do for my project. That's awesome. You can start right away. There's no reason that you don't need to. But, if you think, hey, I kind of want some of the, more technical information first, I want to conceive of, some more conceptual things first before I take that step, then do it in sequence with us, online, with the rest of the student body. If you're above and beyond, ready to go, like, skip past some of them. That's fine. Do what suits you, right? Um, when does it start? It starts on September 30th of this year. That's the day after I get home from IBMA. I want to get started ASAP, and I want to make sure that students have as much time as possible from me. So I intend to make myself available to you, this basically the end of this month and for the rest of the fall, going forward, and then also in the spring and summer. You would be working on your projects, hopefully. So how does it work? You watch videos and complete assignments. Um, you yield a project from the class. Feedback is given by me and through peer collaboration via school, which is a platform, discussion boards, and coffee hour style meetings, right? So we meet like once or twice a week, depending on student availability, and we talk about what we were working on, right? What does it include? Includes these four things, right? Weekly feedback on assignments from me during school office hours, right? And then the coffee hour meetings, which are the group meetings, once or twice a week, depending on your availability. Come to both if you can. Hoping that we do two. But if there's only time to get everybody together for one, maybe we just do one. PDFs and video recording access for 1 year. That's worth a lot just on its own. And finally, this last aspect of me being your mentor to help record, write, or arrange music when needed. Uh, Gosh, if I had somebody who's willing to do like all that stuff for me for a single price, I would be like using it a lot. Because I would have a lot of stuff that I'd want that person to do, and I would want to get advice on how to work on my skills. That's the that's my goal here. Is if there's I have a curriculum, there are things that you're going to be ready to ask me that aren't part of the curriculum right away. And you're gonna say, I want this answered. And if I can answer it immediately, or I can like serve some, function in your musical career, I'll do it right away. But I also want you to have the educational opportunity to learn how to do whatever it is you're asking me to do and scaffold that into your learning, right? Into your projects, into your assignments. Um, the value of this, right? Just think about like hiring a producer, hiring session musicians, hiring someone to help you with notation, preparing charts. All of those things are like, things you could charge somebody for. My goal is just to help you learn to do it on your own. If you need my help, I'm here to help you. But me as a teacher, I want people to be empowered with skills. So the goal here is not doing your homework for you. It's, helping you where you need help, and then, getting you to a point where you can start to do these things on your own. If you're not sure, I understand. I thought of a few reasons that maybe you wouldn't be sure. So here are my three sort of questions that I was asking myself. How do I make this really worthwhile for people? First objection, maybe you're really not sure this is the bluegrass way, whatever that means, right? Is it cost effective? And what if you're not sure you're ready to go right now? I understand. Let's take a look at these questions and see maybe what I have to say about them, right? Bluegrass has been taught using an oral tradition, right, via the ears for a really long time, just showing people visually and then having them hear it and then adapt the sound that they hear onto the instrument, right? That has been a cyclical process, part of the music culture forever. There are people who are college graduates who do not have these skills, who cannot hear harmony the way that they need to. They cannot define 1 4 5. They can't give you the chord changes. How do I know? Because I have come across some of these students. Um, I am not saying that they don't know what they don't know. I mean, they don't know certain things. Nobody knows everything. But the point is, if you have an institution that stretches this process of you becoming a professional out into a 4 year process, and you don't have what you need at the end of those 4 years, you got scammed, and you got scammed hard. And I don't like thinking that. I don't like thinking that friends of mine or people who went to music school or even people that didn't, spent time and effort and money acquiring knowledge that wasn't sufficient for playing the whole game of music. So, um, in my view, it's this bottom thing, right? I view teaching the craft like it's trade school. And I want to teach you all the tricks of the trade all at once. Say, here are the things you need. Um, let's work on all of them, right? And I'm offering it for one price. I'm not like pricing out each skill that I'm giving. I'm just saying here are all the things that you would need, and then offer videos on them, and offer PDFs, and offer a place to ask me questions and for you to work on these projects so that you can master these skills on your own, right? I don't think it takes 4 years. I think it takes one. For a competent person to apply all this stuff and work on their own projects takes a single year. So to me, the bluegrass way is helping people out. It's doing what you think is good for the scene. Obviously, I have to make sure like I make enough to make it worthwhile, but the value of this program is pretty phenomenal, I have to say. So let's look at the cost effective part. All right, weekly feedback on assignments. Imagine a lesson per week for 50 weeks at $60 a lesson. That's cheap for a weekly lesson, first of all. Not a lot of people can get by on that, but that's still good. So it's worth about, more than that. Then the coffee hour discussions, say it's worth like $25 an hour for 2 hours a week. Right, times 50 weeks. Right, it's a lot of time. A lot of time that we're talking together, a lot of learning opportunities. Right. PDFs and video recording access for a single year. If you were to just join the class, download everything, and then leave the class, the stuff that you keep would probably be worth all this. In terms of the number of hours and learning that you could get out of what's there. But without the support system, you're going to have a lot of trouble scaffolding the approach in a way that is going to not burn you out. Um, and you're going to bite off more than you can chew, probably, and then not want to continue learning. And I don't want that for you. Finally, uh, you have me to help write, record, arrange your stuff. Imagine paying somebody just for a single record to do this. I imagine it's probably worth about this much in terms of paying 3 4 people, right? I can't do it all for you, but I could do a lot. And the things that I can do, I'm willing to do for my students as a part of their learning, right? If you are a professional musician, you're working on a record, and you still want to learn what I have, maybe an ounce of what I have to learn, but you want me on your recordings, yeah, take this class. Like, this is the perfect opportunity to like get in there and like be around people who want to work on music, who care very deeply about it, who care about, connecting music to their audience, and playing the whole game, right? So I'm trying to give this all of this value away for one price. Uh, and maybe you're not sure you're ready right now. Question is, what will it cost you to wait, right? So first off, I'm giving all this off, a third off, right? All this away for one low price for the next 2.5 weeks through September 30th. Um, After that, I have to raise the price because then I'm gonna have a different set of expectations for the people who are already in there. And if you want to join, like if I have to have new people, I might have to do another session. It's gonna be more work. So I'm trying to keep it light. You'll have a teacher who really cares about your learning. Um, I want you to succeed. I want you to be happy with where you're at. I want you to be happy with your growth and the trajectory of your growth. Um, I don't want you feeling like, you're stuck at the unit that, is unit one because you're in the first month and you can't move forward or whatever. Like, we'll get you to where you're happy moving forward and we'll figure out what progress looks like on an individual level with these various skills, right? That's really the goal. Um, an opportunity to take greater control over your musical destiny. I don't think there's ever been a better one. I don't know anybody who's offered what I'm offering ever. So I sincerely hope that you can acknowledge the value of what an opportunity like this looks like and what it's worth. Um, you get me. I'm competent. I wouldn't say I'm not, boy genius or anything. Shouts out Phoebe Bridgers. But anyway, like I can play and do this every day. Um, and I want to help you with your projects, and I don't want to make the process harder for you. The point is to try to make everything teachable and learnable, and anything that you can't do that I can, I want to teach you how to do, or at least teach you what you need to know about it. So you'll have at least somebody who is willing to talk you through whatever it is you want to know, working for you. Um, and finally, you have the chance to be in a dedicated community of like minded learners. You miss out on this if you do not get in. This is a closed community to people who are really dedicated on working on their projects right now, who are dedicated to working on their musical growth, who know that they need scaffolding, who know that they need this kind of help, right? Um, those are the people that I want in this program. If that's not you, that's okay, but this is probably not for you, right? The goal is to want it all and to work on the whole game for a year. So, not just pieces of it. We're working on all of it. Um, Imagine paying other musicians to work on your record or an EP or whatever at the end of the term and how much that might cost you. You might not have the people around, you might not be able to make demos on your own. Whatever the goal is, if you want to get just to the point where you're working on something that's a little bit out of your comfort zone, right? Some what we call the zone of proximal development in education. So here's what you can do on your own. It's kind of like a circle. The circle outside of it is the stuff that you could do with help. That's where we're aiming, right? The zone of proximal development. Stuff outside of that we're not going to work on yet until we expand that comfort zone, right? So in that zone of proximal development, that might be writing a bass part. It might be getting a recorded tone on a vocal mic. It might be copywriting your music or planning a record or planning a budgeting spreadsheet for how you're going to pay everybody. Whatever. There's a lot of stuff that you might want to know that you might have not have ever done or ever asked anybody about. Ask away. Great. If I don't know what you're asking about, we will get in an expert who can teach you all what you want to know. Maybe it's publishing, maybe it's, an engineer that knows more than I do, but I know quite a bit. And I worked as an engineer for a long time, and I'm trying to give you what I know in this program, right? So that'll be here too. Um, I have like 15 to 25 spots available for this class. I really don't want to take more than that because I want to keep it, uh, you know, I want to keep it cool. I want to keep it focused. I want to keep the people who are there engaged with each other and inspired by each other because there's this similar vibe going up. We're all here for the same reason. We all want to create music that's impactful, that's meaningful to us, right? So 15 to 25 spots is not that many, right? There is a link tree. If you click on this link tree, right, it's just Max Schwartz, my first and last name, and the word music. The first link on that link tree is a link to my Calendly booking page where you can book a time to talk with me to see if you're a good fit for this program. It says Bluegrass Blueprint Student Interview. Um, they're chill interview. There's some interview questions just to fill out to kind of like say where you're at in your musical life. But it's not supposed to be like pushy or scary. It's just supposed to say like, hey, here's where I'm at. Maybe this is right for me, maybe not, but let's find out. Um, Go to the link tree, book the meeting, let's talk about it. Even if you're not sure this is right for you, I will still talk to you about what might be right for you, right? That's kind of like what I'm here for, is to be a servant of the scene in a sense. Um, this is the direct to the Calendly page. You could click this if you want. You can type in this link if you're able to, see the URL here and just type that in your browser. That works too. And then if you want to sign up, you can also find this on the link tree, but this is a MailChimp, what is it, sign up campaign thing that I made, an email list for the blueprint, right? So things that are related to this course, things that are free, things that are pertinent to music and, the music culture that you're a part of, and growing more deeply with the people around you and becoming ingrained in your scene. That's stuff that I'm going to write about, send resources out on, make videos about. That all come through this email newsletter. So if you want to be part of that, sign up. And you can either click this thing. You can click the link in the link tree actually for the 3 Machine Bluegrass Trainer, which is basically the first 3 units of my program, without videos, just laid out in terms of step order, right, in a PDF form. That is free. It's a link to a Google Drive file, but you can get that emailed to yourself if you sign up for the email list as well. So it's been great talking to you. I hope to see you inside the program. I sincerely hope that you recognize this opportunity. If you are seeing this video, then for some reason this has reached you, and the music gods are calling and they're saying, what do you want to do with yourself? Are you ready? I think so. See you inside.